Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're streaming live simultaneously in three different locations this morning. My Facebook page, at BoyGreen25, my YouTube channel, slash BoyGreen25, and of course on my Twitter account, at BoyGreen underscore 25, and just retweeted it on mine as well, at BoyGreen25. Good morning, everybody. Guys, we're going to be on for a little bit here, answering your draft questions, also ranking the top options available for the New York Jets on day 3 of the 2023 NFL Draft, which of course is today. It starts at noon. Wanted to go live, get up with you guys. I will also tell you this: we're going to have this great series. We started it a couple years ago. We will continue it. That's something I'm working on behind the scenes. Is each of these Jets draft picks that we've had? I want you guys to learn more about them. So I have this series called Meet the Fleet. And what that will entail, of course, is, Will McDonald. Who is this guy? What's he all about? I already set up an interview with an Iowa State insider. That's next Monday. We will have a member of the Wisconsin football program joining us to give us the details on Joe Tittman and so on and so forth. So I'll continue to set those up. So those will be more long-range interviews, and those will be coming as soon as possible, as soon as I can book those puppies. So we're going to give you all the latest insight at all the Jets draft picks. And like I said, today, in particular on this live stream, we will progress and look forward. But of course, you guys can ask questions about the prior Jets draft picks or whatever, baby. This is a show by the people for the people. So make sure you guys show your support. Like the video, hit subscribe down below, and let's keep this train rolling. This draft has been crazy. All right, let's get some of your comments in here right off the top. Then we'll start diving in here. Dakota J, welcome. Tip A, that's cool. I'm going to be honest. One of the things I always look forward to on the Jets draft calls that get released is Robert Saleh. What's he going to go? His sauce, G Dub. Like he's got all these nicknames. Like apparently on my bucket list is getting a call. Okay, from old Robert Saleh. That'd be pretty cool. So he called him. What's up, Tip? Weird, but hey, nicknames are nicknames. I can appreciate it. Warrior Spirit Boxing. Good morning. How you doing, pal? Dakota, do you sleep? Yeah, he's like on every channel and stream. Impressive. Let's keep going. Good morning. Good morning, Everaldo. Yes. JETS Polly, my man, Boy Green and coffee on the Saturday morning. There you go. I've never had a sip of coffee in my life, but I went to bed at probably 2 or 3 in the morning. More Jets draft coverage, writing articles, setting up future videos, things of that nature. So we can't sleep, but we'll have time to sleep when we're dead. That's how I look at it. Dakota J. Joe Tittman, for sure the best overall center in this draft. We desperately needed a center like this. Yeah, let's dive in a little bit here. Again, I haven't really given much reaction to really any of these picks. Outside of the live draft show, obviously, we were on for 4+ hours. So I gave you my initial reaction on Will McDonald, and I had a few draft analysts on that also talked about it. But we'll dive even deeper. But yeah, Joe Tittman. Brian Baldinger, the Jets have their own overtime show after their draft picks, and Brian Baldinger called him the best center of the draft. Dane Brugler called him the best center of the draft. I think technically the first center off the board was Steve Avila. He went to the Los Angeles Rams in the 30s. But he could play guard and center. So I don't know where they're playing him. We'll have to TBD on that. But obviously the Jets had John Michael Schmitz on the board. They don't take him. The Giants end up taking him a handful of picks later. But Joe Tittman's got rare size, obviously 6'6". I mean, you just don't normally see that. Joe Douglas mentioned Max Unger and Ethan Pocic as a couple of taller options. So that's kind of unique. And the bad thing about that sometimes is leverage. Because you're this long ass big dude, you can kind of get forced into weird situations that can kind of get you a little bit. So it's sometimes better to be short and stout. But again, obviously, when you have that kind of size, you bring yourself some innate power and strength, which is really fascinating. And obviously, he's a wild personality. He's got a mullet. What do they call it? What did Joe Douglas call that yesterday? The something waterfall? The wild waterfall? I'm going to butcher that now. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Yeah. Joe Douglas had a name for it. He had a name for that mullet. It was like the crazy waterfall or something. That was by the way was just freaking hilarious. That was great. And what a personality that he looks like he is with the cowboy hat and everything like that. That's yeah, it's called the Wisconsin Waterfall. There you go. Some alliteration for you. Wisconsin Waterfall is the nickname. And all of them on the draft call, Rex Hogan, the assistant GM, was talking about that mullet coming to town. So, hey, embrace the personality, baby. I love it. And again, center. Let's think about it. For 18 years, Jet fans were spoiled. We had Kevin Mawai, Pro Football Hall of Famer. We had Nick Mangold, who's a Ring of Honor member, and maybe one day we'll get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you just had elite center play for 18 straight years. And then it's been Garbaggio, Jonathan Harrison. Oh boy, I'm trying to like name check here. Khalil, we had. Now we had Connor McGovern, and we still have Connor McGovern. We could get into that and why I love it. I freaking love that Connor McGovern's back, and for dirt cheap, we're talking 1.9 mil. This is a guy that Jet fans hate for whatever reason, but over the last 3 years, he's been the starting center. He's appeared in 48 out of 50 possible games, so attendance trophy. Hey, he's available. The best ability is availability. Is he an elite center? Absolutely not. Is he among the worst? No, he's just an average, rock steady guy right in the middle. Right there. Nothing wrong with that. And then you bring it back for dirt cheap. When he initially signed with the Jets, it was a $9 million evaluation. He signed a 1-year deal for $1.9 million. Chump change. The Jets can find that in their couch cushions, for Pete's sake, baby. And you bring him back. So at a minimum, no matter what happens, which by the way, Robert Saleh confirmed it will be an open competition between Joe Tippmann and Connor McGovern for that center position. Like, okay, if Connor wins the job, okay, great. You have a starting center at an insane discount. It's really backup money. If Joe Tippmann wins it, great. He's hopefully the starting center for a decade plus. That's what Daniel Jeremiah said. And then you have Connor McGovern as a backup just in case. And you also have Wes Schweitzer, another interior backup that can kind of play a bunch of different positions. So I feel really great about the Jets interior at this point. All right, let me skip around a little bit here. Yes, so let's start looking ahead because, of course, the title of this video is ranking the top Jets options for day 3 of the draft. So I will answer any of your questions, of course, but let's get some progression here of day 3. Everaldo, do we finally go OT? DeJuan Jones, if he's available. Yes, DeJuan Jones, according to the Mel Kiper big board, is the 3rd best overall player, the best offensive tackle left on the board. And that's a kind of peek down. I mean, he's like the best offensive tackle until Blake Freeland, who's 10th overall on Mel Kiper's big list. Here's what I can tell you. First off, let's just talk about DeJuan Jones. I mean, this is a massive amount of man here. This is a guy who weighed in at 6'8", 374 pounds out of Ohio State. So he's a massive mammoth of a man. Here's the bad news. So there's been some weight concerns from teams. One of the reasons that he's fallen here to day 3, a lot of people had him as a late first, early second rounder, and obviously we're entering the final day of the draft, which is rounds 4 through 7. So weight, a concern, maintaining that, and he refused to step on the scale, I believe, at his pro day. So that's a little wow. And the other part of it is apparently, according to Trevor Sikkema, he revealed this nugget on the NFL Stock Exchange podcast after night 1 and said then at the end of night 1, like, I don't think he's going to the second round, man. Like everyone's saying he's going to the second round. I don't think so. Now, he didn't say he wasn't going to go in the 3rd round either, but the big thing is apparently rubbed some teams the wrong way. So I don't know where all that's coming from. So there's a lot of funkiness there. That's why he's available. But again, to your point, Everaldo, at a certain point, you just got to have to risk it to get the biscuit. The Jets have not addressed the offensive tackle position yet. Obviously, the first round they go edge rusher. Second round they go Joe Tippmann. They don't have a 3rd round pick because the Elijah Moore trade. So, like, you look there and you say, wow. There's a couple of things that stand out. We'll do a longer video about this, but all of a sudden, the Jets might pick up Mekhi Becton's 5th-year option. I thought there was no chance of it, but without addressing the offensive tackle position on the first 2 days of the draft, maybe. I don't know if they do, but it's maybe. It went from maybe. Could happen. So keep an eye out for that. That may be, again, they're going to have to make this decision in early May, but I imagine Joe Douglas will be asked about that in the post-draft later tonight, and we'll see what he says. He said he would address that after the draft. So, again, they could just decline it and say, hey, we're going to motivate this guy. We're going to put this piece of meat in front of him and say, hey, if you want the big deal, go get it, pal. Decline the option, 2023 contract year. Or they could say, let's just exercise it just in case. And Mekhi Becton already looks super motivated. So that's possible. So again, to your point, Everaldo, he'd be a mammoth of a man. He'd be great on the offensive line in theory if the Jets coaching staff can get the best out of him. Talented, absolutely. And these are kind of the places that you would take that. So I could see that. Everaldo, great question. Great question there. All right, let's keep going here. Jets Pauly. Morning, all. Love the Titman pick. The Jason Fabini connection, for those who don't know. He was a high school coach for Fabini. Also was at his Jets draft party last night. Really cool. The thought of Brees running behind him, we got a great one. Yeah. Again, he's 6'6". And really, the team in general, I feel really good about at this point. And this is where, in past years, the Jets have had to go into the draft. Oh, man, we need like 30 starters. And obviously, that's like an impossible ask of your team. But heading into this one, it is about depth. It is about insurance policies. It's protecting the investments. Like, obviously, center's a little bit different. You needed a center. Edge rusher, again, just kind of stocking the room. So there's a couple other positions. Linebacker. Hey, I'd be calling up Quan Alexander right now and locking that down to bring him back and use Aaron Rodgers to kind of try to lure some of these guys back for ring chasing. So Quan, I'd bring back. The Jets love their safety room. Eric Allen, Jets senior reporter, joined me yesterday on the show and said, hey, we really love Tony Adams. And it's almost like hint, hint. Like everybody's saying safety, safety, safety. Maybe not. Maybe they still draft a guy here on day 3, but they seem to really like Tony Adams. Now, fans are just going to have blind faith or not, I guess, in terms of that interpretation. But obviously, offensive tackle is a big one. We just talked about that. You could use more bodies because you just have a lot of question marks. Dwayne Brown is a free agent after this year. Mekhi Becton could be a free agent, depending on fifth-year option. You have Max Mitchell, who's coming off of blood clots. Like, you bring back Cedric Ogbuehi, but again, former first-rounder, not great, not terrible. Great to have a former first-rounder in the room, but, so I wouldn't be surprised if they went in that position. Running back. Guys, this is true, and I now can confirm it. So there was the rumor, okay, and Jet fans are like, nah, that's not true. The Jets were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama. Again, a lot of people I rolled said, no way, they wouldn't have done that. Well, here, let me share you my insight that I have, and you guys can read it where you will. So Jets ended up taking Will McDonald. Obviously, the Lions kind of play around. They started at 6, went to 12. They're like, we're taking Jahmyr Gibbs. And people are like, oh, my God, you took a running back in the top 12. You crazy. And then all of a sudden, a few draft people start leaking out, like Dane Brugler of The Athletic. The Jets would have taken him at 15, or the Jets were interested at 15. They get people go, they got Brees Hall. No way. And let me tell you this, Eric Allen, Jets senior reporter, the guy who works for the team. You guys can also check it out on my Twitter account if you want to see the video clip. He mentioned it during the interview, and I kind of ignored it, but I remembered it. And then at the end of the interview, I see the Dane Brugler nugget. I'm like, holy crap, did Eric Allen just tell me what I think he told me? He said if one of the two running backs, referencing Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, would have been there at 15, he called it, it would have been pretty interesting for the Jets. And I went like, when he said it, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? We got Brees Hall. But then, like, again, we saw this report. I'm like, So, guys, I don't know. Obviously, we're here on day 3, so it's not like it's the same level of investment. Keep it out for my boy, Sean Tucker, the Syracuse running back. Again, the medical is the big question. For some weird reason that's not been disclosed, there's a weird medical situation there where he couldn't participate at the combine, couldn't participate at the initial SU Pro Day, had to do his own Pro Day earlier this week on Monday. But he's a talented player, man. He is worth the dart throw. He can be that guy that you're looking for. But again, that just kind of fascinates me on the Jahmyr Gibbs thing. Like, because you're like, no. Yeah? Nah. Yep, it is that, 100%. By the way, let me review the draft picks the Jets have. I think that's worth doing. The Jets have 3 draft picks today. Here are the picks, everybody, for those counting at home. They got a 4th rounder and 2 5th rounders. Number 112 overall, number 143 overall, and number 170 overall. Those are the 3 picks for the New York Jets today. So there's a chance, just like in day 2, it's a quick day. Jets punch their picks in. They have no picks in the 6th round, no picks in the 7th round. There's a chance. The 6th rounder was exchanged in the Aaron Rodgers trade. The 7th rounder was part of a Steve McClendon trade from a few years ago. So it could be a quick night. Ultimately, we'll see. Joe Douglas said that there were some conversations, both at 15 for that matter, and also in the 2nd round for trading around and maybe picking up a 3rd round pick. But Joe Douglas said it never materialized. So interesting stuff. But yeah, the Fabini connection is pretty cool. All right, let's keep going here. Also, guys, make sure if you're watching here, I love the 100+ people in here on a Saturday morning randomly, on this live stream. Like the video, hit subscribe down below. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers. It's amazing. And also the YouTube Super Chat feature is available. That is available for any of you guys to contribute to the show. Wow, you pronounce it perfectly. Of course, I'm Puerto Rican, baby. I could get my Everaldo. I kind of butchered it that time, but 100% baby. I do it for my people. Let's see. Ah, there he is, Michael. Finally, I can make a live stream, brother. Trader Joe. We haven't seen it yet, which is weird, especially with how it's set up, Michael. But I think we could get something. Could get a little magic. I'm sure the Jets beat writers don't want it. They don't. They want to be done by the 5th round so they could go enjoy their lives, write their stories and things. But I'd be all about it. That's also true. That's kind of a unique thing about Tippmann, him being like massive, right? Like, so the linebackers in the second lane are kind of like peeking around this big bastard. Like, where the hell's Brees Hall? Where's Brees? Oh, touchdown, son of a. So it could be a little bit there. Could be. All right, who do you guys want? That's what I want to hear. Nick, the Jets fan. I want the Jets to get Antonio Johnson, and A.T. Perry, or Xavier Hutchinson. Okay, let me give you a few of the ones I want. So I got the best available here. I've heard some people say Keely Ringo. They think he could transition to safety. That'd be interesting. He's super talented. We mentioned DeJuan Jones already. Nick Herbig, the brother of Nate Herbig. He'd be interesting. Antonio Johnson, yeah, he's a freak. Really, one of those bigger safeties, 6'2", 198. Good height on Antonio Johnson. He can bring it. He can bring it. I'm looking through the big board here. Luke Whippler. It's cool that he's still there. The Jets won't take him, but that's really cool that he's still there. Maybe if it keeps being later. He's the Jets fan. He's got the Nick Mangold connection. I would love to see it. I don't think so, but for the Jets anyway. But that'd be a cool story if he just keeps slipping and sliding down the board. The Jets are like, hey, F it. Let's just keep getting more offensive linemen in the room. People have mentioned the quarterbacks. Maybe, I don't know. I'd probably just fill holes. Again, the Jets seem pretty committed to Zach Wilson. J.L. Skinner's an interesting one. He had a serious injury and could be out this season. Massive guy, 6'4", 209 pounds at Boise State. He had a big injury during his workouts earlier this offseason. Hasn't gotten a lot of pub. It was like a ACL, I think, is what J.L. Skinner blew. So he's the guy that slipped down the board from that perspective. I'm just kind of scrolling down the Mel Kiper big board here. I know a lot of people on the Dorian Thompson-Robinson train. He's the athletic quarterback out of UCLA. If they want to go safety, again, like a guy like Christopher Smith, it could make sense. I mentioned Sean Tucker's a guy I freaking love here locally at Syracuse. I really wanted Matthew Bergeron in the second round, but I love getting the center play, so that ends up working out. For the Jets. Owen Papo, the linebacker out of Auburn. Again, if you're going to go linebacker, he's pretty talented. Noah Sewell, the brother of Penei Sewell at linebacker, also is pretty interesting. I'm just kind of scanning here on the board. You could go tight end. The Jets have flirted with a lot of them. Payne Durham, I saw him when Purdue played Syracuse here. He brings a little bit of nasty. He brings a little bit of nasty to the table. So there's just some guys off the top as I'm getting pretty deep here now on Mel Kiper's big board of just kind of random guys that show a little chutzpah, show a little something. Trying to see if there's like one guy who's just kind of completely slipped down here that no one's talking about. Jason Taylor the second. Deuce Vaughn, if you want to go run it. Aiden O'Connell, the Jets have done some homework on. A couple of those kind of guys. On going back to page 1 here. Some of those kind of guys could make sense. But Antonio Johnson, I like that. A.T. Perry, saw a lot of ACC football out here. Okay, Nick, I like that. All right, let's keep going here. Tippmann, great prospect. He's got some work to do. Yeah, we'll see if he ends up being plug and play. Undetermined at this point. I love the pick. Yeah, he's a good, cool personality. I think that'll be welcome to the locker room. And Aaron Rodgers, you got to know he's a fan. That's for sure. I can't wait for that, Dakota J. The Jets offense, like scoring points, of course they are. And then if the Jets still have a top 5 defense, spicy. Michael, the draft hat is cool. All these people bitching about the draft hat every year, like get a room, man. Like, so this draft hat comes out, and of course, so for those who don't know, I'm 30 now. I'm not really trying to advertise that kind of material, but nonetheless, my birthday's this week. And my birthday is always around the draft. So one of the only, like, first time I just enjoy watching the draft, covering the draft. It's great for you, the fans, and enjoy watching my coverage. And also for me, I'm just a draft freak. So I watch every round of the draft and do all our Jets coverage and stuff like that. So I love the draft. And so every year for my birthday, I'm like, well, I want the latest draft hat. So I got a big draft hat wall back there and all other kind of Jets hats. And so I buy them every year no matter what. I'm also wearing the Jets draft. Well, I was wearing the Jets draft shirt on night 1. And I'm going to be honest. So when the Jets draft hats come out, I comment on it, and I'm seeing all these people dunking on it, like, "Oh, what a stupid hat with the logo." Like, whatever, man. If you want to hate, just hate. But I love the hat, and the shirt's nice too. It's got like this kind of 3D action to it. This looks great, man. This is great. I love it. There's been some ones that are kind of questionable, and I have them all, so it doesn't matter. But I love the draft hat, so it is sick, Michael. You're damn right, baby. You're damn right. Okay, let's keep going here. What do we got? What do we got? Dakota J, the football gods got us this time around. I could see them through the clear blue skies, baby. Oh, it's going to be an exciting season. And then think about it. So we're going to get the full draft here, right? Day 3 today. After I'll try to do a live stream right after the draft, so you guys can come back here and we'll kind of recap the Jets draft. Monday, I should have a draft analyst joining me on my Sick Jets podcast to recap the whole Jets draft as well, get a draft perspective on it. I'm going to be doing all my player interviews, so you guys can see that on YouTube. And then we have the schedule release like in 2-ish weeks. So then we'll be back on to talk about all the primetime games the Jets are getting, baby. So it's exciting times this offseason, that's for sure. And then we're going to get Jets practices. That's coming up on May 18th. So all of it's going to kind of and then mandatory mini camps in June. And then it's the big break. But yeah, we got some big things coming. Help a brother out and hit a like. Snowball's right there. That's for sure. Salmon Jets 718. Yeah, what position do we fill in now? So let's go through a couple of them here. So the Jets, obviously, they get edge rusher and they get center. Of course, I'll also throw this one out there. Joe Douglas did not stop the Ben Jones noise. So, like, Jets on Conor McGovern, everyone's like, Ben Jones thing is over. And Zach Rosenblatt goes, no, it's not. And then they draft Joe Tippmann, and they're like, okay, so the Ben Jones thing is over. To Joe Douglas, he's like, nah, we're leaving it open. And the open, of course, is some injury happens, they can go talk to him. So that option is still alive. So that could make sense. But offensive tackle, the Jets have not touched that yet in the first 2 days of the draft. So offensive tackle could make sense. Whether they go Dwan Jones, Blake Freeland, or someone else of that nature. Running backs on the table. They sniffed around Jahmyr Gibbs. There's no way you sniff around Jahmyr Gibbs and go, never mind. I guess we don't need one. Same thing with wide receiver. The Jets sniff so hard around OBJ, it seems impossible to me to just be like, okay, we'll just run him back. Maybe, but I don't think so. So wide receiver on the table. Offensive tackle on the table, running back on the table. People brought up quarterback. I kind of don't think so. I think it's going to be Rodgers, Wilson, and Tim Boyle. That's what I think it's going to be, honestly. And then you have Strevel on the roster too as well. So that's probably going to be it. Let's go defense. You still need a defensive tackle. What is the Jets' plan at defensive tackle? I'm curious. Next to Quinnen. Because Will McDonald, while he played a little bit on the inside at Iowa State, he ain't playing on the inside here with the Jets. He's going to be out rushing. So, and he, weight-wise, he couldn't do it anyway with the Jets. So, like, you need, like, a big hog molly. Eric Allen kind of pushed back because I want Kalijah Kancey, who can be a 3 technique, but Quinnen Williams plays 3 technique, so where are they kind of line it up? So he says they need kind of a space eater. Eric Allen, the Jets senior reporter yesterday. So I'm fine with that. So get us a big dude. So defense tackle, the Jets have not touched that yet. Do they have a plan? Obviously, they sniffed around some big guys like Fletcher, Cox, Calais Campbell, guys I would have freaking loved. Either one of those two would have been a superstar with the Jets. I would have loved them. I'm not saying they would have been an all-pro or anything, but I just would have loved the fit. I love the player, love the fit. Next to Quinnen, too, thought that would have been amazing. So defensive tackle is another big one. Linebacker, again, with the options that are available right now, as I look at the Mel Kiper big board, I could go positional specifics here. And, yeah, let me pull up a linebacker, what we have on the board. Here are the guys, okay? Henry 2020, the Alabama guy. Ivan Pace, Cincinnati. Owen Papa, who I like. Noah Sewell, who I like. Those are potential options. Those are all inside the top 5 positionally. But I'm like peeking down, and all of a sudden it just disappears real quick. Real quick. Another one you want to throw a dart through, Michael Jones, because I'm a Syracuse guy. I'm going to plug all my Syracuse guys. Linebacker, unless, like I said, the Jets just quickly go, hey, Quan, good, cool. He comes back on the cheap. So that's possible. Jet fans are claiming safety. I'm not sure if the Jets go in that direction. They seem to like the guys in the room. Corner, you're pretty good. So that's basically the positions. You're good at kicker. You're good at punter. Thank God. You're good at long snapper. Shout out to Thomas Hennessy getting a new 4-year deal. Very nice. So that's it. Again, running through real quick again. Offensive tackle, sure. Wide receiver, you bet. Running back. Interior defensive line. Linebacker, maybe, although that's probably a Quan Alexander re-sign shortly after the draft. Those are the kinds of positions we're looking at this point. Although I heard some people just say BPA. That's true, too, if there's just a really good guy there. Joseph, good morning, Paul. It's 5:33 a.m. Bring it. Let's go. Yeah, baby. Booyah. I'm freaking juiced up. I am revved up. I hope that much is clear. Absolutely. Dakota J. Jalen Hyde to the Giants at 73 was the shocker to me last night. Yeah, let's do that real quick. We'll get a full chance to do this after the draft, but yeah, let me look at what happened. Who's my big surprise from yesterday of what happened? All right. Yeah, I'll jump to the second round first. Let me see. Let's see. Well, obviously, John Michael Schmidt's falling was kind of weird. Will Levis, obviously, so he goes 33. Michael Mayer, dude. Like, how the hell was he there at 35? Again, the Jets are covered at tight end, but I would have loved Michael Mayer. He's going to be a superstar in the league. Who's someone that kind of slips? So Tittman, obviously, being there at 43, thank God. A lot of people said he wouldn't be. Branch at 45. He's kind of scheme specific. Keanu Benton fell at 49. I love the Steelers draft, man. They got some good dudes. John Michael Schmidt's 57. And Mel Kiper believes he's going to be a Pro Bowl center. Well, look at the Bills getting Osiris Torrance, who is a late first prospect. They get him late second round. That's another great find for Buffalo. Another very great find. I wouldn't mind it added more interior offensive line depth from that perspective. Drew Sanders going to the third round. Unbelievable. Thought he was one of the best linebackers in this class. Garrett Williams, my Syracuse boy. Again, that's a good investment, especially for a team like the Cardinals that are terrible. They'll get that later. Jalen Hyatt, yeah, he's interesting for sure. I'm just scrolling down here. Devon A-Chain to the Dolphins. Another good. They just like fast guys. Trenton Simpson. Ravens always just get steals. They always get steals in the draft for sure. Darnell Washington to Pittsburgh. Apparently the knee injury was scaring off teams. I'd love Siaki Ika. He went late to Cleveland. A kicker, Jake Moody, third rounder. All right, if you got a million whatever conditional picks, I guess you just get a little freaky. So there you go. That one was some of those are weird. So Jalen Hyatt too. They traded back in for that one. Speedster for sure. He checks off the bucket list. Yeah, the Gonzalez pick was very nice for New England. Again, we're supposed to hate New England, and I do very much so, but the Gonzalez pick, very nice there. And Lucas Van Ness, again, I wasn't a big fan of Lucas. Never started a game, inside-outside versatility. It was a seniority thing at Iowa. Like, I didn't want him. Although, we could get into that later, but the offensive line thing. So, like, everyone and their mother, as Zach Rosenblatt said, knew the Jets needed offensive line. Pittsburgh jumps the Jets at 14 for Project Jones. And I'm going to be honest, the more I was hearing about Project Jones, wasn't a great fan. Now, everyone talked about the ceiling, and that's cool. But, like, I don't know, man. Maturity questions. Took him forever to start at Georgia. Like, I'm kind of cool. I wanted Peter Skoronski. You give me Peter Skoronski, who ended up going 11 to Tennessee. Like, that was my favorite offensive lineman. Darnell Wright goes, of course. Paris Johnson goes, of course. He was the best offensive lineman to go on the board. So, a lot of different directions there. So I'm not really that mad about it. Although New England apparently gave that was an Adam Schefter story live yesterday. New England gave Pittsburgh a discount so they could jump the Jets. What a dick. What a freaking dick move. What a dick move, Belichick. Nice job, you bastard. I can't wait. That's one of the things. Real quick. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. I don't know if that quite hit yet. Like, I'm seeing him practice. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, whoa. I don't know when it hits. Maybe it's the schedule release show in a couple weeks, so we're seeing, like, Aaron Rodgers Jet in primetime games maybe. I don't know when it hits, but come on. Like, Aaron Rodgers going into New England and dropping a 40 burger on Bill Belichick. I can't wait to give him the business. That's going to schedule comes out. I'm circling that one and stamping it and going, oh, we're gonna F you up. It's like looking from across the room, like, hey, pal, look at me. I'm gonna F you up, man. We're gonna and then people are holding me back. I'm like, oh, you son of a oh yeah, we're gonna give him the business. Can't wait for that one. In due time, Paul. In due time. The Giants do have like a million receivers, though. Let's see. Let's keep going. Boy Green, can you post the top 10 to 15 prospects still listed by anyone other than Mel Kiper? Kiper is an idiot. When will Mike Middock be back? That's a good question. Obviously, NFL Network made the transition when Mike Mayock goes to the Raiders to go back into the NFL. They kind of raised the profile of Daniel Jeremiah, the longtime former NFL scout. I love DJ personally. So he's taken over the Mike Mayock role. So I don't know if NFL Network would bring him back. It's almost like what the Broncos did with what's his name? Vance Joseph, right? So at one time he was the head coach of the Broncos, but they brought him back under a new regime as a lower level guy. Normally that's kind of weird because like Mike Mayock was a guy. Now you bring him back as like an assistant to his old job. That would be kind of weird. And I don't know if he just jumps over to ESPN or something because like he's this big personality. But I'd like him back because again, I like guys that are passionate about the draft. So sure, did he have some misses? Obviously, both with the Raiders and during his time at NFL Total Access, but I'm cool. I respect the guys. I know a lot of people don't like Mel Kiper. He's the godfather of the draft. Without all his craziness and the postman and all that stuff from way back in the day, we're not doing a live stream right now talking about the draft. So I have all the respect in the world for Kiper, even if everyone else doesn't like him. So I normally use them as the ESPN best available. The app's pretty easy to function with and whatnot. But again, you guys can all agree or disagree on the rankings. Obviously, so he has like Keely Ringo, his best rated guy. I don't know if that's for everybody, but hey, different strokes. Good morning, David. Good morning, guys. It's great. So many people in here. This is amazing. Love the show. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. We're having a lot of fun here to kick off this Saturday morning. That's for sure. I believe in big ticket around, and obviously the Jets do. Or that's a message I would be selling. Obviously, like, look, Makai, we didn't take anybody because we think he could do it. 48 snaps in 2 years. Again, it's going to be a big leap, but he looks great. He is in the facility, as Snowball said. So there's a lot of belief from people inside the building. Joe Douglas has been giddy at the presser when asked about it. Oh, he looks good. So, in theory, here's kind of how I see the offensive line playing out at this point. Mekhi Becton, if he's as healthy and crazy as he is, he's starting at left tackle. So you have Mekhi Becton, you have Laken Tomlinson, you have Joe Tippmann, you have AVT, and then at right tackle is probably Max Mitchell outside of other options kind of appearing. Dwayne Brown is exclusively a left tackle, so that's the only kind of bad rub because it would be perfect if Mekhi could reclaim the throne at left tackle and Dwayne Brown could flip to right, but that's probably not realistic to teach an old dog new tricks like that. So that's my only problem. Mekhi wants to be a left tackle, or else if he was just great, then a perfect 5 offensive line is Dwayne on the left, Mekhi on the right. But we'll kind of see how that continues to progress. Either way, the Jets have some good option there, which I like a lot. Let's rock, baby. Jets, 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 Jets. I love that kid, by the way. Stickles. What a cool story for the Make-A-Wish and making the pick. He kind of revved my engine. That was pretty cool to see. So shout out to that kid. Joe, who's better to work with, Jones than Beckton at this point? One huge mammoth guy and a young mountain man, or how to get into NFL shape? The only guys that can look into each other's eyes and understand. That's a good point. So obviously the Jets are already invested in Becton. So who better to potentially work with a similar athletic piece of clay like him? So there is something there. And then again, think about the room and then having Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. Does that kind of raise the profile and guys can wrap their arms around this young man? It's probably impossible, quite literally, to wrap your arms around the 6'8" behemoth of a man. But again, that's why you could take some of these risks in the draft, which I think are pretty cool. Will McDonald and Joe Tippmann, welcome. Absolutely. Paulie, what draft competition do you think the Jets would have to give up to move up to today's DeJuan Jones? Okay, let's take a peek at the draft value chart. Let me get my calculator out here in round 4. All right, so here's where the Jets pick. We mentioned it already. So they're at 112. The first pick here in the 4th round is 103. So that's a 9-spot jump according to the draft value chart, which, by the way, on the point scale shouldn't be crazy to make that kind of a leap. So let me pull up my calculator here. So the 103 overall pick is worth 88 points. The Jets pick is worth 70 points. So they have to make up 18 points of value. And that's basically an early 6th-round pick, which the Jets don't have. So it would probably have to be a 2024 5th or maybe a 2024 6th and 7th. So you'd be sacrificing future capital. It's not crazy if you wanted to move up in that range. That's what the draft value chart says, Phil. So again, there's an 18-point difference from where the Jets pick in the 4th round. Of course, you could try to get even more funky because obviously the Jets have 2 5th-round picks, but the 5th round is just rich. You're just kind of overpaying from that perspective. And maybe you just overpay just to get the player. That's potentially possible here as I try to see what other picks we have for Chicago on day 3. So Chicago has another 4th rounder. It's at 133. So maybe, and they also have a 5th rounder that's at 148. They don't have a 6th-rounder, but they have 2 7th-rounders. So, again, you can also get, if you don't want to sacrifice the future capital, it could get in the funky range. So Jets trade up from 112 to 103. They swap to get 133, but give up their early 5th-rounder, which is 143, and that is a 39.5 to 34.5 point. So, yeah, so you can start going deeper like that. Obviously, I'm getting into the weeds here, but you can maybe do some swapping so you're not jumping to future capital. But again, 6th-round value is the difference from where the Jets currently pick in the 4th round, where the Bears pick. So it'd have to leap up to that. We'll see. We'll see if he could slide even to the Jets or even in a smoother range. But if they want him, obviously he is well within range. Deuce Vaughn, yes, Jet Life. Some of the Jets have looked at. He's a smaller guy, super small, as a matter of fact. Let me see, like his official. I think he's 5'5". If I've got the size right in there, I want to make sure I get that right here. So, but he is super small, interesting player. Again, if you just want a different kind of flavor in the room, he'd be kind of a fun one, in my opinion. If we go, Roshan Johnson, the Texas running back, is really good as well. Israel's good. Dwayne McBride is very nice. Yeah, Deuce Vaughn. Here's the size out of Kansas State. He is, 5'5". That's the number, 179. So I want to make sure I have the height, weight stuff right. And then you have Sean Tucker. You got actually a lot of good running backs on day 3, which, again, shouldn't be that surprising to bring that in. So he's smaller, so you got to, size, durability, those kind of questions. But 100% he's fun. Where do you see Bam roll? That's interesting too, Sinet, because quite frankly, Zonovan popped in the Bears game. We're like, ooh, Zonovan. And then he had some pops. I think it was in the Vikings game too. But then all of a sudden he festered, and it didn't fester, excuse me. It kind of like nosedived. And I'm curious, why did it nosedive? Did it nosedive because the Jets offensive line was terrible at that point in the season and he couldn't find any rushing lanes? Did he just fizzle because he's an undrafted free agent? So, he had some pops and he will give you pops, but not consistency. So that's a question, obviously, the Jets are going to have to answer. So for me, I think he can make the roster, obviously, of course, but I'm not so sure if Breece Hall is somewhat compromised. We're playing it cautious with Breece coming off the torn ACL. Am I running out Michael Carter? Ty Johnson was cut this week. Interesting. Just weeks after signing him, the Jets cut him with some level of an injury designation. So I'm cool upgrading the room, to be honest with you. But you have Michael Carter and Zonovan. Ooh, I don't know if that's enough. That's all I'm saying. So a day 3 pick is somewhere where I would go. A third next year, again, that would be 2 over the top to make that jump. That would be way overkill at this point on day 3. Let's see. A day 3 trade up could be possible. God, I'm trying to catch up on all your comments. I'm so sorry, guys. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. That is true. That could do it. Yep. Future's bright. DeJuan Jones. A lot of DeJuan Jones people in here. Yep. Deuce Vaughn, I see that available. Yes, he's still there. 2-2, the linebacker from Alabama. Again, Alabama or linebackers in general could be on the board. I'm trying to catch back up. J-Mac, again, you could have those kind of players. Again, I said the same thing with Garrett Williams. Andrew Voorhees, tore his ACL. Draft and stash, so to speak. Could be possible. That could be. I'm trying to see. So you guys are asking about prospects. So I'm trying to available. I'm just trying to make sure that these guys are. So we got DeJuan Jones. Let me see the other offensive tackle. Carter Warren is the guy. So let me pull up that comment. We're doing a lot of jumping around. I need a producer. Joe Grant, the offensive tackle for Pittsburgh. Yes, he's still available. He is. I just had it in front of me. He is the 3rd best offensive tackle on the board out of Pittsburgh. Carter Warren, 6'6", 311. Yep, he's still on the board. That could be another one for sure. DT would be my second choice. That'd probably be up there. OT and DT, trench warfare. That's probably there. Jordan Battle is not. He went near the end of the draft. I can't remember who. I remember them saying him at Alabama. I think that was. I can't remember the team, but he 100% went. I saw it last night. Let's see. DeJuan Jones, Sewell, and Skinner. Yeah, that would be a great. Yeah, talk about a boop boop boop. Yeah, do that. That'd be nice, Anthony. Yeah, Anthony Cook. That's right. Hopefully, you are cooking with these picks, baby. I like it. Yes. Great question, Average Joe. Do we think that Carl Lawson remains on the roster? There have been some flirtations that the Jets could move on. I love Carl Lawson, the player. He was a guy who was pounding the table for in free agency. Tears his Achilles the first year. Second year last year, obviously. 7 sacks. not bad, but not, of course, what we were all expecting. But of course, he's coming off an Achilles, so another year removed from it. I think he's going to be even better. I'm fine stocking the edge room. Now, what I would probably do is approach him about one of two things. Number one, an extension. So his number is huge, 15 mil. Hey, can we give you a year or two on your deal? And I'm talking about a legitimate year or two. You could, of course, always add void years and just spread the money that way. But I'd probably give him a legitimate extension for a year or two and kind of move the money around. So I'd do that. Or number two is straight up pay cut. Hey, Carl, hey, man, look at the production. Achilles, like, hey, man, we're going to ask you to take a little less. And then maybe he does. And hey, if you prove it, we'll pay you a bunch of money again. So for me, my gut says he's staying. Although there's been flirtation. Zach Rosenblatt said it's more on the table. Joe Caparells and the Badlands crew said, hey, grabbing Will McDonald, how are all these guys going to play? I think he stays, but it obviously the door's open with the Will McDonald thing, I think. Keila Ringo as a Jet safety. That's a popular thing here in the chat. So you guys, okay. I love that. JFM going to play inside. I don't think there's going to be labels, though. I don't think it's like JFM. You're only inside now. I don't think so. Although that could, again, lighten the load at defensive tackle, to your point, Jeff Life. That's possible for sure. The Jets got the wrong center. Again, I hear people say this all the time, like, because, again, for instance, positionally, like we do a mock draft for my radio show, a final mock draft. And, like, I may have a position right, like Pittsburgh. I'm like, you're taking offensive tackle, but maybe not Broderick. You're taking, I don't know, I'm making this up, Anton Harrison, right? And the Steelers taking offensive tackle. And I say, should have went with a different one. But, like, I guess we'll see at the end of the day. So, to your point, I'm sure you're leaning towards John Michael Schmitz. Well, the rest of the NFL thought so, too, because he didn't go to 57. Joe Tippett went at 43. Goes to show you, maybe the NFL teams in between those points agreed with the Jets. Now, who will be right ultimately? We'll see. Because obviously, if the Jets pick the wrong center, the Giants are going to let us know that for the next 10 years. So, and we play the Giants this year. That should be a good one. That might be an early primetime game. Okay, let's see. I mentioned this earlier, but I know some people are joining the live stream late. The reason why DeJuan Jones is falling is twofold from what we understand, both from some of my own digging and then some draft analyst shows I've been watching. Number one, the weight. So he is officially, here's the weight from ESPN. He is at 374. Apparently that's a problem for some teams, and maintaining weight's a problem. He did not weigh himself at the pro day. That's kind of a red flag. Why wouldn't you? Not great. Number two, apparently he's rubbed teams the wrong way during the pre-draft process. And that has bothered teams. And arrogance, I'm not quite sure. Again, so the size is intriguing. And again, you come from a big college like Ohio State. There's a lot to love there. But weight and rubbing teams the wrong way have forced him down here to day 3. Now, eventually, as the $1 million man says, everybody's got a price. So what is DeJuan Jones? I think day 3 is a fair price to pay for a player of his talent level. Trade down is possible. They could. Again, they only have 3 picks right now, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. So to get in that 6-7 range. But again, they could go a quality approach. They're like, hey, we got Aaron Rodgers. We don't need a lot of guys. We just need a few guys that are really good. So, but you could go either way. That's another point by Anthony Cook. Al Woods. Again, Anthony Cook is cooking here with all these takes. It's juicy. Al Woods, obviously, is still floating out there. He's like 1,000 years old. He's not really. He's like 36. But JFM Clemens inside on 3rd downs. That's very possible. I love the room, but you need some more defensive tackles for sure. That'd be cool, Bill. Wear the Jason Fabini number. That'd be awesome. Yeah, hard R. I tweeted out this clip. I'm trying to give proper love to the draft today, but we will get a video out on this. If you haven't seen it, go to my Twitter, guys. You'll find the clip very quickly. I wrote a story about it and talked about it. Deshaun Watson called the Jets toxic. Throwing rocks from a glass house over there, Deshaun. And he was referencing, last year's Jets and Elijah Moore situation, talk with Elijah. Again, I'm giving the love to the Jets today, but we'll get back to that. I'll get a video out on that somewhere in the near future here because we had some things to discuss from that perspective. Hendon Hooker to the Lions, really cool. I think that's a great fit. Absolutely. Love the Lions draft. The Wisconsin Waterfall nickname, phenomenal. That is great. Joe Douglas calling it that. I almost lost it. Yeah, see, there you go. Kuiper was one of the top ones on Will McDonald. He actually, early in the mock draft process, had him as a top 10 pick. So, Yeah, all those people saying Kuiper's an idiot. I'm like, oh, if you think so, then that's not good for the McDonald's stuff. Anthony, how did I like the pick? So I will be honest. Obviously, Will McDonald surprised me and probably everybody. I'm going to be honest. Edge rusher did not surprise me. I'm like, hey, man, keep stocking the edge rushing room. So I thought that was a possibility. Of course, of the guys on the board who I wanted, EA asked me this, I'll tell you. I had 3 guys going into the first round, realistically, that I wanted. Sure, like, I want Will Anderson. Okay, shut up. Like, so I had 3 guys, realistically, that I thought could be on the board. Peter Skoronski was number 1. Versatile offensive lineman. Could have played anywhere. Would have loved it. Number 2. Elijah Cansey out of Pittsburgh. I thought he'd just be great next to Quinnen. Smaller guy. They both play 3 technique, but I just feel like the Jets would have figured it out. And then number 3, JSN. That would have been sexy. Plug him right in there in the slot. Again, I mentioned it on my radio show, but I'm a people pleaser. Garrett Wilson would have been happy. Aaron Rodgers would have been happy. JSN would have been happy. And let's score all the damn points. So those were my 3. Obviously, the Jets did none of that. They said, hey, Paul, up yours, pal. Up yours, pal. We're going to do our own thing. Okay, Jets. Okay. So, but I trust the process. So in terms of like in our picks, so first round, Will McDonald. Again, the production is insane in college. You can't deny that. But I just thought he was a second or third round pick. It's funny when he was taken, right? So I'm doing a live show. You guys can see my live reaction if you want to. It was a 4-hour live stream. And when he was taken, the first thing that came to my head was a couple years ago. Remember when the Jets were flirting around with Bruce Irvin? And then at that time, he was also a second or third round pick. But the Jets ended up, because Seattle, blocks him and takes him 1 pick ahead of the Jets. They're like, all right, we'll take Quentin Coples, who, by the way, I thought was going to be fun, this versatile guy. Never worked out at North Carolina. But that was the same thought I had. And Bruce Irvin ended up having a wonderful NFL career. Actually, I think he's still playing. So, we'll have a judgment now, one way or the other, like, yeah, Will McDonald, oh man, Will McDonald sucks. This stinks. And then during the season, as soon as he has his first forced fumble, which, by the way, he is a strip sack artist, which I love, and the production's insane, which I love. So, when he has his first strip sack, all of us are going to shut the hell up and go, yeah, we do it. We do it. Will McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. Like, I'm sure we'll be doing all that crap eventually. But I'll be honest, I was surprised by the pick. But I'm open to being wrong, obviously. Joe Tippmann, I was cool with any interior offensive lineman. So John Michael Schmitz, Joe Tippmann. Tippmann's tall, and that's kind of weird, but I trust the Jets' evaluation. Joe Douglas, a former offensive lineman. If he picks him, I trust it. So those 2 I like, and then there's more to be had. All right, let's jump down here. Thank you for the questions, guys. This has been great. That is the dude that can leap the SUVs. Yes, it is. Yeah, he is retired for that. Thank God. Pierre Thomas. Oh, yeah. Pierre Thomas, the former New Orleans Saints running back. Either way, I love it. I love the Dragon Ball Z avatar. Boy Green, glad to watch your show again. I just got back to New York last night from vacation. Missed Aaron trade and first couple days of draft in real time. Loving what JD and Jets are going so far. Pierre, thanks for joining the show. I'm glad you were able to hop on live. Guys, whether you've hopped on live or you're watching after the fact as you get ready for day 3 of the NFL draft, or even some weird coming back to it after the draft, guys, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe. It makes a huge difference, baby. And we got some great coverage coming. Like I said, we should have a show after the draft, kind of a live reaction, kind of assessing all the picks once everything is official. And I'm trying to think of what else. I'll be on their Jets Talk 24/7 live stream today. I think that's at 5:30 maybe later tonight, jumping on to talk some Jets. So we got that coming on. We've got a draft show on Monday with a draft analyst recapping the whole thing. We've got and some of these player interviews. So we'll learn more about Will McDonald. We'll learn more about Joe Tippmann and every other Jets draft pick. I'll bring insiders from wherever they came from on the show. We got 2 interviews scheduled already, obviously for our first 2 picks. So not too shabby. Appreciate it, Pierre. Yeah, I'm loving it, baby. Yes. Okay. The beard game is strong. You're damn right it is. Look at this burly piece of work. Very nice. Yes. Let's go to Rico the Pup. I like Connor Rogers' statement about Jones. A lot of coaches weren't a fan of his upper body, a.k.a. the boy too fat. Yeah, they had a couple of those bangers on the stock exchange stuff, which was hilarious. But, yeah, they didn't like the extra beef. And, again, not stepping on the scales is like, you obviously have the option. He didn't have to step on the scales. But by not stepping on the scales, that just makes this massive statement. It answers everything that they needed. Like, if you feel confident, you're going to step on the scale and show them whatever weight. But the fact that you won't, the only reason you wouldn't is because it's not good. So, not great. Not great. Any shit we trade, I would assume that's chance, but I like the shit better, JD. Any shit we trade for DeAndre Swift from the Lions? Love our RBs, but think he could be a great addition, especially if they want to take a little slow with Brees come back. Great question, JD, and 100%. The Jets, I would be surprised if they haven't called already. He may get moved on day 3 of the draft. One of these picks could get flipped for DeAndre Swift. He's entering the last year of his deal. The Lions said, F you, and took Jahmyr Gibbs. So they have Jahmyr Gibbs. They paid David Montgomery a lot of money. DeAndre Swift will not be a part of this Lions team. This season. I'd love DeAndre Swift, former Georgia running back, gets injured a lot, but again, he won't have to be the guy. You have Michael Carter, you have Zonovan, so he'd be a guy kick the tires on. Again, Zeke, I think he'd be another guy, dirt cheap. I'd kick the tires on too. But DeAndre Swift, absolutely. I'd flip one of those. I'd flip one of those picks today and bring him in the room for sure. Okay. We taking a running back tonight. I believe we will. Yes. Do I prefer last year's picks or this year's picks? Yeah, I'll take Sauce and Garrett Wilson and everybody else. Yes. Yeah, that's bold. Yes, I will take last year's picks. Thank you. Are there any wide receivers left? That's a good question. Let's take a peek at the big board here. Mel Kiper big board. Boop, 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 boop. Let's see. A lot of them went last night. There's Tyler Scott out of Cincinnati. He's a smaller guy, 5'10". Charlie Jones was a killer against Syracuse. Late bloomer, 5'11", 175. He's scrappy, kind of your Wayne Corbett type. I heard someone mention A.T. Perry earlier. He's a super interesting guy, but he's on the opposite side. He's massive. He's like a 6'4" dude. Kind of peeking down the wide receiver board here. Keyshawn Butte, although he's got some other questions about him. We talked about Andre, the Princeton guy, as a late dart throw, potentially 6'3", 205. He bought this jug machine for his house so he could practice catching at home. That's kind of cool. So yeah, there's a couple of names. There's some names. There's no Downs, the wide receiver, went late yesterday. That was a big one. That would have been cool. But no. Cool hat, thank you. The latest Jets draft hat. On brand, baby. We got to stay on brand. Hear that? Got to stay on brand. Stay on brand. Okay, let's keep going. I'm not trading back up. Fair enough, fans. DT, big run stuffer. That's what I would like. Lawson should have a better year this year. I agree. DeJuan Jones. Yes. Trade Huff for a second rounder and a third rounder next year. No thanks. Bryce Huff, essentially last year, was doing. Again, I think the Jets are operating with, hey, let's go to try to win the Super Bowl. And the more pass rushers you have, the better. I love Bryce. We had him on my show. He's a nice kid. I like him. I like Bryce. I want to keep him on there for sure. Just have all the damn pass rushers. Great question, Michael. Where would DeJuan Jones rank if he didn't have the weight issues and not working out at his pro day? So, yeah, if he worked at his pro day and then, was a little lighter and also just wasn't just packing on the weight, he probably would have gone late first, early second. And obviously, he's here on the third day of the draft. And the other thing I can't is the attitude stuff that apparently rubs some people the wrong way. So, I guess I can't account for that. I haven't got a chance to speak with DeJuan myself. So, I have to kind of base that opinion based off other draft people. But, so that one's the only weird wild card that may push him to the mid-second, I guess, if we were redoing this puppy. But yeah, that's my honest thing there. FYI, Tippmann will start over Connor McGovern. Much more better all-around kid. Kid is a stud. I love it. Will the Jets draft a quarterback in the later rounds? I doubt it now, to be honest. Maybe if there was a guy, although as I jump back over to the quarterback big board here, all the big guys are gone now. I know Jake Hayner is a guy a lot of people like out of Fresno State. Jaron Hall, get all the BYU quarterbacks, I guess. The Jets did do a ton of homework on Aiden O'Connell. Stetson Bennett had the DUI thing. That's a little weird. The Jets did a lot of homework on Max Duggan. It could be a priority free agent ad, so maybe that's something to keep an eye out for. But the Jets don't have a 6th or 7th round pick, so unless they start trading back, John, I just don't know if we're going to get there. But Aiden O'Connell or Max Duggan could be a priority free agent ad. Watch out for that following the draft. That would be kind of interesting to me. The XFL playoffs. Yes, enjoy those, guys. Yes, that's beautiful. Jets defense. Buffalo Bills unstoppable. I love the Osiris Torrance pick. And Dalton Kincaid, I get another tight end you don't use. There you go. Very nice. Will McDonald. Yes. Bills are the best team in the AFC. They lost Tremaine Edmonds. That was a big loss, guys. Big loss. How did I like the Lions pick of Jack Campbell? Off-ball linebacker. Thought the value was a little weird there. He's a good football player, so it's not like he's going to be a bust. But again, off-ball linebacker at 18th overall. Would have waited a little bit. Would have waited a little bit. That's for sure. Jets 8-9. Come on, man. The Jets are going to be like 13 and what is it? 13 and 4. Yeah. Get ready. We're coming, baby. We're coming. Some JD Magic today. That'd be nice. Our top two choices for our next two selections. All right. So the Jets again have 3 picks today: 112, 143, 170. That's a 4th rounder or 2 5th rounders. So 112. Give me DeJuan Jones if he's there. Again, we haven't touched the offensive tackle room. He's super talented. Again, the Jets had to be comfortable with the attitude and stuff like that. 143, I'd take Sean Tucker, baby. I would take Sean Tucker and add him in as another running back to the room. So I'd go, again, DeJuan Jones, 112. That's our 4th rounder. Sean Tucker in the 5th round. I think he is an incredible piece. And then another guy I would go after, obviously, is a defensive tackle. And now it's kind of pick your flavor at this point as you look down some of the names that could be potentially here. I'm trying to project because obviously that'll be the later of the Jets pick. That would be pick 170. So we're talking late. A little later on the scale here. Defensive tackle, you guys could go earlier. So we could flip-flop some of these potentially to get the better value play early. But if I was looking there, we're talking about I don't know. Will he be there? Is PJ Mustapher, 6'4", 320. I'd like even a little bit more Brutus Beefcake. Keandre Coburn, 6'2", 330. Gerard Clark out of Coastal Carolina. A little Brutus, 6'4", 334. Yeah, he's the guy. So give me Gerard Clark. So again, DeJuan Jones, Sean Tucker, and Gerard Clark. Those are the 3 that I would like. Great question, James. Eventually, Buffalo has to take that step back, just honestly. I mean, you can't just keep being this talented forever. So, yeah, I think, eventually the steam's going to run out there. Anthony Joseph. Paul, what's your game to watch the upcoming season besides AFC East? Oh, come on. I mean, there's so many. And Dallas game. I'm hoping to be at that one. That one's in Dallas. I've never been to AT&T. That'd be cool. The Chiefs game. The Eagles game. The Giants game. Like, there's so many games. It's phenomenal. The schedule makers are going to drool and get all over themselves about all the great games that are going to be on the schedule for the New York Jets. So all of those tickle my fancy personally. So do I think we win the division? Oh, hell yes. And it'll be the first time since 2002 that the Jets have won the division. Yes. Look at the teams, man. You had Aaron Rodgers. The Jets defense is top 5. We have all this talent. Who the hell is stopping the Jets? Oh, the Buffalo Bills. Although there was a great point by Sal Capaccio, Buffalo Bills sideline reporter, who joined me on the radio this week, that the Bills won their division, the AFC East, by more games than any other team won their division, which was 4.5 games. Interesting fun fact. Again, the Bills are the favorites until the Jets break into their house and steal their crown. We may get an early Jets-Bills primetime game. Keep an eye out for that one. So they'll have to come take it, but we'll have to see. Hawk, Paul, how many defensive linemen do you think Saleh wants on the 53? It's 10 or 11, man. It could be 12. So we're talking that kind of range. It's going to be a lot of dudes. Probably because then you have a few of them inactive. Probably 12, I would say. And again, some of those are kind of floaters because there's like a Leo linebacker / pass rusher there. But I'm thinking like 12. Yeah, the Bryce Huff spider monkey moment. That was phenomenal. Because it's funny. Like, there's preparation, obviously, for these interviews. But, like, I wanted a little loose. So, like, I'm listening. I don't want to just have 10 questions. And no matter what comes out of Bryce Huff's mouth, I'm just going to ask my next question. A great interviewer listens to his client, his subject, his whatever, and then can pivot and move and groove based on an answer. Like, he gives a crazy answer. Like, whoa. F what I had. What was that? Let's dig in. So, like a spider monkey. That is funny. Like, kind of just jumping. Yeah, that's phenomenal. R&R, would you move AVT to the right and draft a guard? I would not. Although, if there's a good guard on the board, I suppose, I guess you can leave your options open. I think Jim Duggan's going to say it best after the draft. I'm going to guess what he's going to say. He's going to say, we're going to play the best 5. And we'll see what that best 5 is. Like, if Osiris Torrance or someone was there, I'm like kind of skidding through. Yeah, I'm looking through the guards. There's no one that like I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy's still here. Like they're all kind of just jumbled together. No, I mean, let's play best five. Obviously, with the Jets not taking an offensive tackle, another thought process is, oh well, that opens the door for ABT. Of course it does, but I'd probably keep ABT at one spot because that's where he's naturally going to progress. Again, did he show pop? Was it awesome? Of course, but for me, I'm probably keeping him at guard. But the options, of course, open with them not addressing offensive tackle. Jets draft hat is fire. Yes. UDFA will be lit. Again, that's another. Again, they have Aaron Rodgers. That's a great negotiating recruiting tool when we get to that point. Absolutely. Let's see. Good one here. Got Dewan Jones, Blake Freeland, receiver, running back, linebacker, free safety could be another one. Yep, I did get the Aaron Rodgers custom black jersey. It wasn't the straight up stealth black. It was a different version they had with green digits, green numbers. That one really looked cool. Do we take Dewan Jones in round 4? I think if he's there, they'll seriously kick the tires. If they don't, obviously, that dream's probably over. Jeremy Ruckert once sold you a cheesecake. True story. We'll have to get you on for that story. That sounds fun. Couple quickies here, then we'll wrap up. Let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. George Fant could be brought back. Yes, I saw a few people bring that up. The longer he stays out there, similar. Very tough schedule, which I love. I embrace the tough schedule. I love Lake Tomlinson. Again, I'm tied to him from our interview together, of course. So I like him. But Dwayne Brown, depending on how he recovers from surgery, is the biggest piece of the puzzle. So I'm excited for a big bounce back from Lakin. If I would give a letter grade for the Jets draft so far, a B minus, C plus. That's kind of where I'm at. Again, it's subject to change, of course, today. But so they get the arguably the best center on the board, depending on your rankings, and then they get Will McDonald, who feels kind of reachy. Even Will McDonald admitted it in his Jets draft presser. I thought it was going 20 or second round. So, but conviction on your pick. If he ends up being a stud, who cares whatever draft letter grade I gave at this point? So, it could be. But to me, again, C plus B minus. To be honest, it's probably a C plus. The more I talk myself into it. But again, subject to change. My father joining in on this show. Should Jets look QB on day 3 after the Rodgers experiment? We don't want to start the search. Well, it seems like Rodgers going to be here 2 years, so you factor that in. And the Jets have been publicly committed to Zach Wilson, so it would just be kind of weird, although a day 3 dart throw isn't really groundbreaking. You have Tim Boyle. He's the system guy from Green Bay. He has $75,000 guaranteed, not even guaranteed to make the roster. You have Chris Streveler. He's practice squad bound. Tim Boyle, for that matter, is also practice squad bound. They're probably going to keep 2 quarterbacks on the roster, probably Rodgers and Zach Wilson. So I don't really see, unless, again, there's just a guy they're in love with. And I mentioned a few of them. They've done a lot of work on Max Duggan at a TCU. So that's possible. They privately worked out Aiden O'Connell, which me and my father's, we did not see that when he was not here for that Purdue game. I was there with Purdue people watching that one in the Dome. So he's another possibility. So they've done a lot of homework on some of these day 3 guys. I don't think they draft one, but priority free agent, that is the place to look for a few of these kind of names. So Aiden O'Connell, Max Duggan, those are the names to keep an eye out for Jet fans. Okay. Any final questions here? Cameron Fleming, offensive tackle free agent, could be possible. Again, it could be that Aaron Rodgers thing of getting things after. Potentially. Okay, boom. There you go. All right, guys. Unbelievable. 200 crazy bastards in here. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe down below. Again, we should be live after the draft with a full recap of just myself and you, the fans, and let's celebrate. Let's look at it. Should be a lot of fun. And like I said, on Monday, we'll have a draft expert on. He'll tell us all the real things. We can hopefully answer any of questions that you guys have. We'll be live for that show. And so many more, and break down each of these prospects right here on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/boygreen25. Thanks, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. Enjoy day 3 of the draft, which gets underway at noontime. Jets, 3 picks today, and I'll give you one more shout out on what those 3 picks are. 112 overall, 143, 170, a 4th rounder, and a pair of 5th rounders. And what magic could Trader Joe Douglas pull off today? We'll see. This guy's a mover. He likes a little move and groove, actually. He likes to move and groove all over the board. We haven't seen it yet, Is Trader Joe getting trigger happy, floating over that red button? Trade. And then all of a sudden everything blows up. Who knows? We'll see what happens today, everybody. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you after the draft. And if you want some of my live stuff during the draft, @BoyGreen25 on Twitter. We'll see you then. Peace out.